What's up, boys? The Spency boy back at it again. We're streaming again. Holy shit. I just got that reflex itch. Again. All these years later, it's funny how this game can still give me that little feeling like, damn, you know what? I just want to go play that game. Like, it's kind of crazy how it can do that so late into the life cycle of the game. It can still give me that feeling. It's pretty wild when you actually think about what Reflex really did, man. It's unbelievable, actually. That's a better way to say it. It's straight up unbelievable. That'd be the better way to say it. I appreciate you boys tuning in to another stream. Let me know if the quality looks good, video looks good, audio looks good. Some dude said you're new here. Yeah, what's up, dog? Yeah, I've been getting quite a few new people in the streams. That's been kind of interesting. Been kind of cool. What's up, man? Appreciate you, dude. Yeah, I was streaming every day there for like a week. And then I uploaded a video and kind of like didn't upload anything for a day and then uploaded another video. So it's interesting how YouTube is very based off of momentum, right? Everything on YouTube is based off of momentum. That's a big tip to some of you smaller YouTubers out there. It's all based off of momentum. Consistency and momentum is how you get big viewership on YouTube, period. Like, a lot of people kind of forget that. Like, right now, you know, I'm chilling with, what, 15 people in the chat, right? Of course, that number is going to go up throughout this stream, but, you know, when I was streaming every single day, that number would already have been at, like, probably 30, right? So, you know, consistency and you know, having people come back to your channel every day, like, that's a big part of it, guys. It really is. Really big part of keeping a active viewership, because if you go any days without uploading anything, or you go days without, you know, streaming or whatever, all that really does is that basically gives the, oh, we're about to have a whiteout here. That gives the potential for, you know, YouTube to kind of drop behind on recommending your channel and putting your channel out there, and it kind of makes people not necessarily completely forget about you, but they're not, you know, as apt to be consistently watching you when you're not uploading as frequently, or when you take a break or whatever. Like, I can almost draw a direct correlation between me getting better viewership on streams and videos after a stretch of consistently doing it versus, like, you know, anytime I take a day off. God, that's the worst thing ever. Don't ever take a day off. That's terrible. No matter what you have to do in a day, do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Don't ever think, I can't do that today, I got to do this. Nah, it's a load of horse shit. You can't do that with YouTube. You got to be constant. You got to be relentless. You got to be every day. You got to be uploading some kind of content every day, man. What's up, MLG? What's up, dude? So, either way, that's just a really big tip to it, because that's how recommended pages work, right? That's how YouTube works. The more you upload, the more you're doing your thing, it makes YouTube really push your channel. So, I think a lot of people kind of don't really understand that about it. But that's what makes me want to just upload every single day, stream every single day, because it just makes everything grow more. It's crazy. It's crazy how it does that. We're just out here chilling on this cool-ass free ride snow track here. You know, Reflex had some of the best free ride tracks of any motocross game ever, period. So, it's always a good old time. The old bar squeezy. What's up, dog? YouTube's a finicky beast, though, man. Like, you can go from getting 4,000 views on a video or having like 100 active viewers in a stream to having like a fourth of that overnight for no apparent reason. YouTube is really weird like that. I don't know. Really weird. It's like it'll put you on these, you know, like pushing your channel recommended pages. It'll like push you, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, we're not going to push your channel anymore because you didn't upload for a day, right? It's kind of funny. It really is kind of funny how it does that. All right, let's go to an actual race track here, boys. Yeah, we'll be getting another MX bike stream pronto ASAP, Rocky. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. Let me, I'm going to show you here what we got here now here, boys. Okay. Okay. Don't look at my setup, guys. It's too legendary. Don't look at my setup on my bikes. Man, these DLC ones were kind of cool. Tell you one thing, even though these DLCs were similar, woo, they were pretty sick, bro. Do a little 10, 15 lapper. Try to get some deformation in the game that has the greatest terrain deformation of any motocross game, and it came out a decade ago. It's kind of funny. It's kind of cute. You know, the game's got the best whip system of any game. It came out a decade ago. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of wild. No big deal. You know. I am on the 360 version here, boys. This is the one that calls my name every time. It just is what it is, man. Like, the PC version's fun and all, especially if you're wanting to play with your buddies, because you literally can't on the 360 version unless you play split screen. Nowadays, that they don't have the servers working on the 360 version, but when it just comes to, like, me wanting to play the good old Reflex, you know, want to go in there and just play on stock tracks, DLC tracks, play the game how I remember it back in the day, the feeling of it and everything, I always want to play it on the 360 when I'm trying to play it like that. But obviously, if you're trying to play on custom tracks or you're trying to, you know, play with your buddies in multiplayer nowadays, you pretty much have to play on PC for doing that. But, you know, this is definitely my preferred way to play this game, is on the 360. No, not even, holy shit, bro. There's no question about it. What's up, Moto Mika? You've been practicing on MX Bikes, dog? We'll be hitting that up tomorrow. Don't you worry about that. MX Bike stream coming tomorrow. You boys better be practicing up. I haven't played in about a week, but it's all good. We'll be ready. We'll be ready. Don't you worry about that. Dude, I'm just having fun with these games now. Like, not taking the shit too serious, not worrying about... I've been working on a bunch of custom track stuff on MXM. Finally got some time to kind of cut into that. So, that's been fun. We got a lot of stuff coming out on that in 2021. I'm really excited about that because it'll allow me to be able to do a lot more streams on MXM and playing on certain custom tracks and multiplayer, you know, fun times on streams for that. So, got a lot of that stuff coming up. But oh my God, 2020. What a slap in the face. I was thinking all this crap would have lasted like a month, and here we are. We're, you know, like 6 months later, we're still doing this shit, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I really hope that doesn't just continue into the end of 2021. We have a, like, 2020 number 2 in 2021. That would be god-awful. I highly doubt that, but really hoping that doesn't happen. I don't know. There's just been this weird vibe in 2020. It's kind of killed my vibe. It's really weird. Plus, I've been doing a lot of real-life stuff, trying to get more of that stuff going, but yeah, what a crazy year, dude. 22 dudes in the chat. We got some Reed action going on out here. Yo, is Chad Reed going to come back next year? Did he? That kind of ruined his little finale Supercross season, didn't it? That was a little bizarre. Kind of ruined his thing he had going for that. I don't know if the old Reedy boy is going to come back. Heard some talkings about it, but I kind of think he's not going to come back at this point. Kind of think he's just good. Man, you can't blame some of these guys for retiring from motocross. Like, the amount of time they have to put in, the amount of injuries, the amount of, oh my God. Like us boys sitting on the couch playing these motocross video games and like racing at our little local tracks and going and riding and like riding dirt bikes in real life for fun and like just racing like in local races and having a good time. That is totally different than what these boys are doing. Like, they're doing that shit to a point to where it ain't fun no more. It ain't a good time no more. You go out there and do a 30-minute plus 2 times 7 days a week for 20 years straight. Promise you, it ain't going to be that much fun anymore, man. It's just like anything, you know, it turns into a job. Just like anything. So, and I'm not here to complain. My life has been literally perfect. Yeah, it's had some downs, but I'm not here to complain at all about this. But YouTube and playing motocross games and playing MX Simulator nearly 10,000 hours, you know, doing all this stuff, it makes playing video games feel like a job too when you do that shit every single day, all day, every day. It can do the same thing no matter what it is you're doing, right? Again, I'm not complaining about it, right? This is like the greatest dream job you could ever imagine in your entire life. Let's not get that twisted, but like when you got to go through the processes of video editing, make literally 1,400 videos, 70 plus custom tracks, full-blown custom tracks. I mean, that shit adds up. The amount of time you put into it. So it's certainly you know, the more you do it, the more it becomes like a job. You know, the more once you start getting that 5,000 plus hours into MX Simulator, that shit starts to feel more like a real life job than like a fun experience playing a game. You know, oh, this track a little muddy, a little slick, a little wet Willy Wednesday out here, boys. So, just something to keep in mind. But the key there, the trick there, I took my hand off the controller. Yeah, excuses, Spency boy, good one. The trick there is you gotta love it enough. You gotta want to do that more than anything else in your life that it don't even matter whether or not it starts to feel like a job or not. There's nothing else you want to be doing. You'd be doing that no matter what if you was making money off of it or not. So that's when it don't even matter how much time it takes. If it starts to feel more like a job or whatever, it don't even matter anymore then because you'd be doing that anyways, right? So, kind of crazy, but there's some big life lessons, some big things you got to kind of figure out in life, you know? Try to act like you got to go to college and school and all that shit. Then you go to college for like 4 years, and then you get a degree and a job you didn't even really want, and then you go back to college again, you get about $200,000 in student loans, then you finally get the degree you want, then you can't even get the job in the degree in the field that you wanted, right? So, then you're back to square one after you paid about $300,000 and spent about 6 years of your life on college. 9 times out of 10, that's the way it goes. I hate to break it to some of you boys, but yeah, every once in a while you find what you want to do in college and it just all works out. But I think a lot of people, you don't really chase your dream job in college. That's chasing your plan B, quote unquote, realistic job, right? The job you didn't really want, but you're just settling for it, right? Let's just keep it real. You're just settling for that job you're going to college for, right? So, you know, if you want to spend this one life working on your, not the job you really wanted, but just the job, your plan B job, you know, you want to spend this one life you have on that, be my guest, bro. Everything's going to have its difficulties, right? But I think a lot of people are just like, they're scared to chase their dreams. They're scared. They think it's like just not possible. They think it's just, you know, some like mythical, they kind of teach you in school like it's this, you can't do that, you can't you know, be a professional motocross racer. You can't make money doing that. Certainly, they wouldn't even bring up the potential of making money playing video games. That would be like just not, that would be like so insane they wouldn't even bring that up, right? But, you know, if I would have told a teacher that I'd be making the money I'm making right now playing video games, she would have laughed me like straight out of the room, dog. So, you got to be your own man, you know? You got to think about things for yourself. Okay, let's play a little Supercross here, boys. Crazy how they had the actual KTM back in the day. God, that bike is ugly. What was I doing with that? I think I did that just to make it look stupid. That's actually, I like hopped on the KTM for a second when I was racing my buddy in split screen. I was like, how stupid can I make this bike look? That was it right there. Holy shit. Got the Takashi 6'9", bruh. Okay. Shima's pretty much the best time you could ever have, but let's get on this blaze. Get on this little blaze action, bruh. Man, I love some of these little DLC. Man, that DLC Supercross for Reflex was awesome, too. The DLC for this game just added to the game. It didn't take anything away from the game. You know what I mean? Just added to it. That's literally all it did. Let's try to get some ruts going on this shit. Boys, I appreciate you tuning in to another stream. It means the world to me. Could not do this shit without you. All you boys that support me and watch my videos, yeah, you're the reason why I can even do this. So, yeah, means the world to me, literally. Man, this, even down to the freaking loading screen track of Reflex. It's just like, holy. And like, you know, I would think, we got Stewie right here to my left. I would think Reflex's graphics at this point, now that we're a decade and a year later after the game came out, I would think the graphics would seem worse. You know how always when you play a new game, it seems like the graphics are amazing, like you played like some PlayStation 1 game way back in the day and it was like, oh my god, these graphics are so good. Nowadays you go look at it and it literally looks like some like super box pixelated bullshit, right? So that's just kind of how graphics work, you know. The more years that go by, your eyes kind of get adjusted to newer graphics and things and like that. So then it makes older graphics seem a lot worse than they used to seem. But like, yeah, Reflex's graphics are not like some official Supercross game graphics or anything, but they don't look that bad. Like even when I go back to it to this day, it doesn't look that bad. That was something I kind of noticed about this. I was like, ooh, that's a jump. That's a good one right there. That's pretty tough to get that jump. That, like, quad into that corner. You got to get that perfect little whip glitch seat bounce shit that you just, it's like a 1 in every 10 laps you can get that kind of pop off of that. But, yeah, that was one thing it's like everything about Reflex just feels timeless. Every single thing about it. The physics, the whip system, the terrain deformation, the graphics, the everything. Every single thing about this game just feels timeless. It's what makes it what it is, bro. About got 40 dudes in the chat here. I appreciate you guys. We will be back on the MX bike stream grind tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you got that notification bell hit on my channel. I appreciate you. So this is definitely one of those tracks you can either hit the fastest line or the biggest line, which is not necessarily the same thing, right? So, let's see if we can hit that again. Oh my god, look at that. You gotta stretch that shit out. It's tough because it's not just about how much you can almost jump all this right here too. It's tough because it's not always just about how on the gas you are. It's like how you jump down in a transition. You know, sometimes it's like you got to go slower to go faster on a rhythm, which is bizarre sometimes, but sometimes that's the way it is. Sometimes you got to go faster to go slower to hit a bigger rhythm because you got to jump down in a certain transition in a certain way, and it'll cause that to happen like that. You know what I mean? But like even down to the DLC, bro. Look at the quad potential. Look at all this. Jump all this, and you can sweep all the way, slit a little, but you can quad this right here too. There was always some bigger rhythm. That's one thing about Reflex. There was always some bigger potential jump that you could hit no matter what. No matter what. It was the furthest thing from feeling like you were just forced in this certain rhythm that everybody and their grandmother was hitting on the very first lap. That's what I love about Reflex. It just has that almost like more simulator skill gap feeling. Maybe not quite as extensive, obviously, but it's got that simulator endless skill gap feeling, but in a playable, you know, not super difficult to get into arcade game. It was like that they were able to sort of mix all that in together, which was really cool about this game. $42 dudes in the chat. What's up, boys? We're back to the daily streams. Sorry. Sorry for the wait, too, Lil Wayne. Sorry, dog. Had to take a day off there. Dude, I'm never taking another day off, straight up, period. Which I really didn't take a day off. I did actually have to do something, but I just don't ever want to go another day without uploading a video or streaming. That's like terrible. I never want to do it ever again, bruh. Ever again. Okay, so let's go to some of those more old school Supercross tracks in this game. So there's a couple tracks I still need to unlock in here, actually. Couple of them. Okay. Fort Dodge round 1. And then on each one of these Supercross tracks, there's a, like, mecha line. So not just the big line, but it's like a out of this dimension, out of this, you know, solar system level line that you can hit. There's always at least, like, usually there's, like, one of those on every stock Supercross track in this game. I feel like that's kind of where a lot of the custom Supercross tracks for Reflex fall short. You know, they just can't really live up to that stock track feeling of the game, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. But I also think what goes into that is that bizarre, you know, PC port of the game in combination with the custom tracks not being made quite like the stock tracks of the game. You certainly don't get the, you know, that sort of feeling with a lot of the custom Supercross tracks in Reflex. That sort of, you know, endless skill gap, endless rhythm potential. Like this right here, I'm not going to hit it this lap. Whoa, my tough block. I'm not going to hit it this lap. I'll hit it next lap. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Is it worth it? Probably not at all, because you're in the air for about 25 years. So, you know, that's kind of part of that. But this track wasn't like super complex in rhythms, but, you know, you can go up the inside right here. My God, dude's cross-laning like crazy. A lot of the areas you could go like way inside and still hit the main triple. So it created a cool little, you know, a cool little balance to the game. And like right here, depending on how tight you can cut this corner, it's like they just made the tracks where they were multi-lined. You know, a lot of different line option potential. You know, like right here, you can jump over that or jump onto this table. So there's kind of two little options there. And then it sets you up differently for here, right? So it kind of makes a little multi-option area there. This, I'm jumping that first jump too far, but you can jump this all the way to there, which is like just totally out of this world, you know? We need to do a little rut tester on one of these motocross tracks or something. Just see how ruddy we can get the shit. That's just like that. When you have terrain deformation like what Reflex has, it literally gives you a whole nother like way of playing the game, a whole nother layer to the game. So you can either go in there and just do like a little, little 5 to 10 lapper, but when you go in there and do like a 20 to 30 lapper, it's an entirely different experience. It's an entirely different track. It's an entirely different everything when you do that. So, it makes all the difference in the world. Let me try to get my mic moved back here a little bit. Focus up, Spency boy. Focus up here now, Spency boy. Then that terrain, ooh, we clipped that tough block. That terrain deformation gets fun, dude. Because that's one of the biggest problems I had with MX Simulator's terrain deformation, right? Is it felt like it just slowed you down more than anything. Just felt like it slowed you down. We're out here, Big Hoss and Big T sipping. That's that big line. You can hit it every once in a while, dude. You can hit it. But you got to be on the money. You got to be on the money with that jump before, Got to carry a shitload of momentum and scrub that jump before like super hard right there to where you don't over jump that first jump a little bit because then it kind of kills your momentum in the transition to hit the second jump there. But that's one thing I love about Reflex's terrain deformation system is it doesn't feel like it slows you down. When the terrain deformation starts hitting, if anything, it almost makes you feel like you can go faster in some places that didn't necessarily have a rut or whatever. Like, yeah, there are some tracks, especially like the sand motocross tracks, that can slow you down just a little because it's a little more rough. But it ain't nothing to how MX Simulator. MX Simulator will take you from going like 3rd and 4th gear down to 1st and 2nd gear when a Supercross track gets super deformed on MX Sim because of how janky it starts to feel. That's the thing, there's nothing about Reflex's terrain deformation system that feels what I call janky. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel janky. It's got that perfect where it'll build a rut, but yet, it's not like concrete level, sturdiness, but it's also at the same time not just like blowed out sand everywhere unless you're literally on a sand track. So you can see in these corners how it kind of develops this where you can still go just about as fast as you would without there being a rut there. It just makes it a little more challenging, and it changes the track a little bit versus just making the track feel janky and slowing you down, So that's a really big difference, I feel, between MX Simulator shit. It's so hard for that to ever turn into something good when there's no cushion. That's at the core, that's what makes Reflex's terrain deformation feel so good, is that cushiony feeling to it. So that's what I've been saying this whole time, with MX Simulator having that way older game engine, there is no cushion to MX Simulator at all, just none. It gives it a very, very weird feeling, It'd be like if you'd have tried to put terrain deformation in Untamed, That's a perfect example of basically what they're trying to do with MX Sim right now. They're trying to put terrain deformation in a game engine from 2007, same year that Untamed came out. Imagine trying to put a terrain deformation system in Untamed. It would never work. You couldn't do it. There's no cushion to that game. The terrain has got that real outdated sort of game engine feeling to it, So if you ever want to wonder about what MX Sim's terrain deformation in a nutshell kind of feels like, it's like you're trying to force this new modern game engine feature into a game from 2007, like you're trying to put a terrain deformation system into a game like Untamed, when in reality, it should never be in a game like Untamed. It should only be in a game like Reflex or later, because that's when they started to actually develop that terrain for the game engine to have the cushion to it. So it makes a big difference, man. It really does. You boys getting in some real life dirt bike conversations in the chat. Love to see it. Love to see it out here. Spency boy, not really on a vibe on the track yet, but we'll get there. It's just fun, man. Like, Reflex is the perfect game to just go in there, you play it, you have fun. You know, let me get on this Shima 4 fatty. Dude told me to get on Fort Dodge round, I don't even know. Man, there's some Mac Daddies on Manchester. Oh, I want to ride on this. Yeah. This is, and then they also had the cool little, you know, mixture of where they had some of the Supercross tracks that kind of went up in the stadium, and then some of them that didn't. And then some of them had like metal ramps and stuff, which I know is kind of crazy when you think of that nowadays, but I don't know. They just had that perfect like variation to the scaling without making every track feel like some crazy different track, you know? Let's I want to get some AI here, and we'll give them a head start and see if we can catch them. Okay, let me get on the Shima. The old Shima. We want to be on Fort Dodge 2, 5 laps all time. We're giving them a 30-second head start, boys. 30-second head start. I've been trying to kind of do some turn-up whips on Reflex. It's pretty fun when you start trying to do some of that. Obviously, I did a lot of that back in the day when I played this a bunch, but it's interesting because you really can do some turn-up style whips in this game. You just got to, see like that right there? You just got to really know how to do it. It's not as easy to do like it would be an all-out where you just turn both thumbsticks the opposite directions. It takes a little more finesse with the thumbsticks to get Reflex to do the turn-up shit, because this was, and that's what's crazy. This game came out back in the days before turn-up whips were really that big of a thing in real life. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy when you realize that. You know, turn-up whips were not in style back in 09 like they are now. You know what I mean? So it makes it really kind of crazy how they, that's what I mean when I say things like Reflex was ahead of its time. Like, Reflex was predicting the future in a way. That's just how good the physics were in this game, man. It really is. Okay, we're going to give them a 30-second head start. You got Brayton over here. Brayton, good old JB. Yeah, it's interesting how you have the KTM bikes in this game, but you don't have any other main manufacturer. Kind of crazy how they like worked that deal out, but then didn't have it for all the other ones. You know? Kind of wild how they did that. And they had the Geico, you know, sponsorship in the game, obviously, with the Geico skin, and then the big Geico, you know, gecko on some of the DLC motocross tracks. All right, we on that 30-second head start action. This track had some fatty rhythms. Oh, my God. Of course, there's a quad right here. Not the, you can quad the first part of that. See, that's what was so much fun. Like, it just, there was such a perfect, like, momentum swinging, separating, you know, you felt like when you carried momentum in this game, it actually mattered, but it wasn't so extreme like in Alive. You know, it didn't feel like you came to a complete stop when you came up short on something. There was just a very cool, like, momentum flow to this game. The way the bike would like land even when you came up short, you know, it wasn't like a total loss of momentum, but there was some loss of momentum. So it had that, this game has the perfect like physics momentum balance to it, in my opinion. It's got the perfect. And that's just so hard for these motocross games to get that. It really is. 60 dudes in the chat. Holy shit, boys. You're popping off again. Spency Boy, the tea sipper out here again. You know what it is. Sorry for a couple days without streaming. We're back on the daily grind. We back on that daily streaming grind. We'll be getting some MX bike streams coming up soon. I'm going to do a MX versus ATV Unleashed stream versus just a MX Unleashed stream. pretty soon as well, so that'll be a good old time. Okay, so the quad here is this, right? Oof! I need to carry a little more momentum there. Be able to hit that better. It's just, there's just nothing to complain about when it comes to Reflex. In all reality, there's just nothing to really complain about in this game. There's just not. Like, man, it is still the GOAT. Still. 11 years later, it's still the GOAT, and it ain't even a question. And all you boys that are trying to act like some of these arcade motocross games that came out after Reflex are better than Reflex, that's kind of like trying to say, you know, LeBron is better than Michael Jordan. Like, you can kind of get those fantasies in your head and stuff, but at the end of the day, it just really ain't, dog. That's all it really comes down to. It just really ain't better than Reflex. It's just not. Either you haven't played this game enough on the 360 version to get that true feeling of the game. You know, you've like only played it on PC for like 200 hours because you probably weren't really old enough back when Reflex first came out, right? Trust me, if you were at least like 12 years old or more when Reflex first came out, and you actually played this game more than like, you know, 500 hours, trust me, dog, you're gonna have the opinion that this shit is the GOAT. Period. And that ain't even talking about all the custom tracks and custom everything on PC. That ain't even going in. I'm just talking about the base version of this game. It's still the GOAT. Even if you didn't consider all the custom stuff. Still the GOAT. The physics, the terrain deformation. I mean, just, and it's not, when you say physics, I mean every facet of the physics. It's not just like, oh, it's got a really good whip system or whatever. It's not just that. It's every aspect of the physics, like I was talking about, the momentum swings, the feeling on the bike, how it feels going over roughness, the reflex system, the feeling of like you can pop off but not pop off everywhere, the balance to all of those different things, and the way all of that works in harmony together, that's what makes Reflex physics the best, because it all works in harmony. You know, the physics don't feel too floaty, right? The whips, the wheelies, the stoppies, they don't feel like too complicated, but at the same time, they're not too easy to do. Like it feels like it is in Alive, right? Where you can do an unlimited stoppie and an unlimited wheelie literally your first day playing the game, right? So it's just got the balance, dude, to all of that. And then you get into the amazing, you know, track designs and scaling and rhythms, and all that works into harmony and plays together with the physics system. You know, you gotta have all that working together. If you just have one aspect of it, it's hard to make it great in a motocross game. It really is. Like if you have amazing physics, but then you don't really have the skill-gapped rhythms and the skill-gapped, you know, track designs and line options and things, then it don't really matter anyways, right? And vice versa, if you had amazing track designs and amazing big rhythm potentials and all this other stuff, but then your physics don't really allow you to huck and, you know, pull back on the bike properly and carry momentum and add skill gap, then what do you really have? You don't really have a game. It has to work together. You know, I feel like that's what a lot of these modern-day motocross games has really struggled with, that the shit doesn't feel like it works together in harmony. Everything doesn't just gel together like it did back in Reflex. So, but not only all that, but everything we talk about with Reflex, it was a decade ahead of its time. Like, even if Reflex was to come out today, in 2020... other than the graphics, you would think this game was like next level amazing. Still to this day, even if this game would have came out today. You know, if Milestone would have came out with a game like this today, with Milestone's graphics, you would have thought, oh my god, this is the most next level, the greatest thing ever. Still to this day. So if that don't go to tell you something, I don't know what will, man. I really don't. And, you know, Unleashed and Untamed, those games were pretty good for their time. They really were. Like, Unleashed is just legendary, straight up. But I feel like Reflex is where we really started to hit that pinnacle of motocross gaming, like, mechanics and things like that, you know? Like, Reflex not having an actual seat bounce button, the leaning forward and backwards, being able to huck the bike, but without having an actual seat bounce button, and the feeling on the bike, and the roughness skill gap, and the rut skill gap, and the terrain deformation. You know, it's like Reflex was just able to hit a whole nother, like, tap into a whole nother pinnacle of motocross gaming than what Unleashed was, but it's not to say Unleashed was like a worse game or anything, because it wasn't. Unleashed was amazing. For its time, Unleashed was like the bar, you know? It was amazing. But Reflex was able to just like multiply that sort of fun factor, skill gap feeling of what you would have had back in like Untamed and Unleashed and things like that. So it took it to a whole nother level, you know? Let's go do a little rut tester, eh? Let's go do a little rut tester, eh? Let's get on the Blaze. Actually, let's get back on the Shima, dude. Feeling good out here on the Shima. We are about to do a 15-lap all-time race. I'm going to give these guys a whole lap head start. Whole lap. I'm going to wait till last place comes all the way around me on the start line before I take off. We'll see if we can catch them, boys. Dude, I want them to just... Oh, man. Oh, man. It gets to a point where you can't even hardly explain it. Like, when you compare these physics to, you know, some, like, Milestone MXGP 2020 gameplay, it is laughable. Oh, shit. Sorry, I took off. Fuck. Stoppy time, boys. It's laughable. Straight up. It's just like, what? You know, all those other games just look like the rider has a stick up his ass the whole time. And the bike's not moving like it should. And, you know, this game just had such a smooth harmony, physics flow to it. It was just a whole experience, man. It was a whole nother level. Whole nother level. It's a whole vibe out here, boys. Hey, I appreciate you guys tuning in to another stream. Sorry for the not streaming for like 2 or 3 days. We're back on that daily grind. We back on it, boys. And just letting some of you Dudeskis know, some of you members of the channel, I will be getting in the Dudeski voice chat really soon. Either tonight or tomorrow, I'm not sure exactly, but I will be getting back in there playing some MX bikes in the Dudeski voice chat of my Discord. So if you're not already a member of the channel, be sure and look at that. All you got to do is hit the join button. It'll show you what you get with that. Okay, so that's first place coming around. Oh my God, this can be tough. This is going to be a challenge. I don't know when the last one's... So I'm going to have to lap everybody twice, technically. I'm just going to go ahead and go because I don't know. There may be 1 or 2 there behind them, but I'm just going to go ahead and go here. We have got to giddy up. We've got to giddy up. Damn, it's been a long time since I've sat down here and really played on some of these sand tracks real rough like this. Just got done re-optimizing my version of this track that I made on MX Sim. So that was a lot of fun. I got that one all fixed up. I got the Reflex Lost Meadow replica on Sim, my custom track, fixed up as well. So we got those fixed up. We got a bunch of the other tracks fixed up. Like I say, that video will be coming out 2021, letting you guys know about all that. But, yeah, we have got 1:14 to make up on these fools. Oh, my God. But we got 15 laps to do it. It's going to be a ruddy, rough, sand in my crack. We're going to have to be sipping on the tea vibes to win this race, boys. This one ain't no joke. James Stewie, come on now, son. Thought you'd be in the front, dude. What is this shit? Come on now, Stewie. Oh, what the fuck? That rut was like, nah, you shall not pass, Spency boy. Alright, okay. Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. Let me hit the pause button real quick. Are we still flowing here on this stream? I think we are. My shit's a little delayed here. Yeah, we're still going. We're still going good. Okay. Whoa. Man, I gotta relearn how to go through these ruts. There was a point in time when the Spency boy could hit all this shit wide open with his eyes closed, even on these rutty tracks. There was a time. There was a time. It's been a long time since that time, but there definitely was a time where I could do that. This track always thought, like, there was no point going around that outside rut there where the AI goes. Like, literally no point. Whew, this is going to be tough. Fuck. I'm getting... Maybe I need to get on a little more top speed bike, because it's kind of trying to get out of shape on me. Maybe I need to get on that Honda. Think that might be the better option here. Trying to avoid these AI, because you know how they are. They're literally a heat-seeking missile. Got to be a little careful with the AI of this game when you're trying to get around them. Damn, dude, this is going to be tough. We might have bit off a little more than we can chew here. Don't know. It's going to be real tough. It's going to be tough titties. Just like that right there. Exhibit A, boys. Got to be careful with the AI. If you get in too much of a rush when you're trying to pass these guys, they'll just either take you out instantly before you can even say Bob's your uncle, or you just barely run into the back of them like that and you're just dead. So, got to be a little careful with that. Little careful there, Spency boy. Little careful there, bro. We're starting to gain on it now. Once we get out of this pack here that we're unlapping, then we can start making a charge to the front. We got to pass them all again, though. Whoo! That may be a little hefty of a challenge. Maybe a little hefty of a challenge there, boys. I know anytime you have something that's a little more, like, mellow on the power, you know, a little more top speed versus acceleration, it's going to make going through these ruts a little bit easier because you don't have to be so like that right there. Exhibit Z on the AI of this game. They will bully you, dog. They will literally bully you. Woo! Triple. Triple. That one's pretty tough to hit. The AI will bully you into the ground on this game if you're not careful with them. Got to be careful with them. See this dude coming over? Dude, they will bonsai your ass too. Like, you'd be coming through a corner and be like, oh, okay, I like got around this dude, and then all of a sudden he knocks you to a next week real quick out of nowhere. That can happen pretty quickly. Yeah, we need to be on the Honda on this track, no doubt. No doubt. I'm just trying to gauge, like, how many laps it would take me to catch back up after letting everybody go, after letting everybody lap me, right? Trying to kind of figure it up in my head here, what's possible. Obviously, when you factor in like the AI taking you out 2 or 3 times, you kind of got to factor that in because sometimes it's just unavoidable, like straight up unavoidable. Damn, that terrain deformation's almost making that little triple to the inside a little easier there. That's kind of crazy. Boys, we out here just trying to float like a butterfly. We're trying to. We're trying to. Scrubbing the shit out of that. Lost a little bit of speed. Reflex also has, once you start getting real deep into this game, you start to realize this game is all fucking hell. That dude, that AI scared me right there. He scared me a little bit. He made me kind of turn myself off of the track. But Reflex gets real into like leaning back. Reflex has a very, once you get deep into this game, leaning back is like everything to this game, you know? Whereas that's kind of the opposite for a lot of other motocross games. A lot of other motocross games, you want to kind of just not lean too far forward or backwards, but with Reflex, what leaning backwards will do, it'll actually make you hook up better, you know? It'll make you kind of drive through these rough-ass corners. So when you play Reflex a lot, you get in a habit of leaning back pretty much all the time. And that's kind of the habit I need to get back to get my speed back in this game. You know, there for the longest time, I leaned back almost everywhere on Reflex. That's a really big trick to some of you boys. Obviously, you can overdo it. You know, there's times where you don't want to lean all the way back, but it will help you get through corners in this game. Just, you know, don't lean too much, and then when you get it kind of in the apex of the corner, lean that son of a bitch all the way back, and it will drive you through those ruts, like, really good. I mean, it's the magical button in this game, basically, leaning back through stuff. So, but the reason why I'm not really doing that here much is because I'm so used to playing these other games where leaning back doesn't really do anything anyways. You know, a lot of the milestone games, like leaning back is not really going to affect a whole lot because there's not really any, you know, inertia, like roughness, skill gap or anything like that. Hell, a lot of times they don't even have roughness on their tracks in the MXGP games or ruts or anything, so you don't even have to worry about that in the first place. But on top of all that, the physics aren't even developed to the point where leaning back on the ground would even really do anything anyways. So you don't even really have to you don't even really have to care about it, you know. With MX Sim, you know, leaning back does definitely affect it on the ground, but Reflex to me just seems like leaning back is such a big element to this game. When you lean back on the ground specifically, you gotta have that bike angled properly. It's definitely a next level skill to the game. There's no doubt about it, you know. Been a long time since I played this game to that kind of level where I got into, you know, really leaning back and really doing all these little special techniques and shit. Been a long time since I played this game like that, but you can start hitting the corners like that. You see how I just railed the shit out of that? Like there wasn't no deformation there at all. You can only really accomplish that with leaning back hardcore. That's about the only way you can do that through this rough shit. So, it's a really big tip to some of you boys trying to get a little quicker at Reflex. Leaning back is your friend. Trust me. Leaning back is your friend. We got some laps. We got 6 laps left to make up 50 seconds. That's going to be tough. That's going to be everything we got. Gonna be everything we got for this wet okay. Oh man, it's getting rough. My bike's doing a little chattering. Over that roughness. That quad's always a good time if you can hit it. Starting to wear down these faces a little here. But you don't want to lean back everywhere. I mean, they're definitely, you know, everything to Reflex has a balance to it. That's what makes it fun. So it makes, you know, if you could just lean back everywhere and not even have to think about it, there would be no skill to it at all. You know, there is still a certain level of, you got to think about it. You got to think about what you're doing, where you're leaning back, where you're not leaning back, because it actually affects the bike. Are we really, Stewart really in last place, or is he in first? He was in last place. I just went from 12th to 11th. Stewart was in last place. What the hell, game? The hell you doing to my Stewie boy? What in the hell? Ooh, this track's getting fun now. It's getting just where it's kind of got away from that super rough to where you can still go fast, but almost go even faster because you know you got the rut there, but it's kind of the roughness starting to get wore down a little. It gets really fun when you get in this kind of part of the terrain deformation cycle of it. Right about that 10-lap period, it gets to a really fun point. You can go super fast on the tracks and hit. See, it's making this triple way easier because it made a kicker right there with the way the AI was hitting that. Dude, I think we can win this. Oh, my God. We're going to take this outside to try to avoid that guy. Okay. Solid. We got 30 seconds to make up in 4 laps. It's going to be tough. Can't have any mistakes. It's going to be tough. So we let everybody lap me before I even took off on a 15-lapper for some of you guys that are just joining in. And we're right here, caught all the way back up to them. We're in 10th now. It's a pretty good thing for a 15-lapper. It's a pretty good challenge point. Spency boy out here too fast, too furious in these kids. They can't hang. The T's hitting. The T's hitting. We're out here big T sipping, big T dripping. Ripping and T sipping triple. Ooh. Got to be careful when that AI is in front of you. Got to be really careful. Oh my God, we're feeling the vibe now. You can just see it. You can just see it. These boys are in trouble. The Spency boy's coming for them. Oh shit. These boys are in big trouble. Oh my God, the Spency boy's hauling ass out here. Oh my God. These boys are in big doo-doo. They're in big doo-doo, I'm telling you. Spency boy straight railing now. Whoa, gotta be careful there, Spency boy. Don't hit that AI. Be a little patient when you get up to the AI. Oh, what the? Okay. Yeah, we didn't see that. We didn't see that. That didn't happen. Don't worry. Don't worry, guys. That didn't happen. That did not happen. We don't know what happened there. That didn't happen. We never crashed. We're actually still going. We never crashed at all. We're still going. It's all good. No crashes. Woo! No crashes. That didn't happen. We have not crashed. We're still on the grind. We're still getting it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't you worry about that. Spency boy coming to make a killing out here. Oh my God, that guy cannot control his bike. What? Almost died on the actual rider model there. Okay. I forgot how collidable the rider models were in this game. Like on, I think it's on MX bikes where the bike is collidable when they wreck, but the actual rider themselves is not collidable. So you can just run right through the rider. You just got to avoid the bike. I think that's what got me confused right there. Thought I could just run right through the rider without getting hit. Okay, we got 7 seconds to make up here. Coming up a little short there. But it's just like they had a way back in these days of making even the motocross track super skill gap, super jump fun factor, you know? But not like super unrealistic like some of the, you know, Unleashed and Untamed tracks were back in the day where the jumps got insane. I feel like this game just perfectly intertwined that like realistic but still not too one-to-one scale, still kept the fun factor to it. Reflex has done that better literally than any other game I have ever seen, motocross game-wise. Okay, here's first place. Oh, you suck, dog. You cannot hang with the Spency boy. You just got bopped, dog. Get out of here, bro. You cannot hang with the Spency boy. Oh, me, oh, my. Well, okay, we got that. Ooh, the challenge would be on a 10-lapper, seeing if you could catch all the way back up, because I did have a couple crashes, and obviously I'm not going as fast as I could here. Trying to kind of relearn hitting all this deformed shit, but, whoo, you can make up some time there. There's always a couple of those places on every track you feel like, man, I can really make up some time if I just hit this right, you know? Always at least 2 or 3 areas where you can do that. I feel like I'm going to give my performance in this race like a, well, about to give it a 0. I'm going to give it like a 7. I don't feel like I rode really good. Had a couple wrecks at the start, wasn't focused enough. So I think you could let them lap you completely before you take off and catch all the way back up in 10 laps instead of 15. I think you could do it in 10 laps instead of 15 on a motocross track, right? It's going to be a little different on a supercross track here, but man, this game just has such a, like when you micro steer, like, so you're not turning, it's all in how you know, you can turn the bike in combination with leaning like down and to the left, you know, leaning diagonal and then rolling the lean to all the way down or all the way to the side as you're turning. You know, the leaning of this game gets so complex with the physics, you know, combination into the physics. It gets really fun when you start playing this game hardcore. What's up, Jake? What's up, dog? I'm seeing chat, by the way. Sorry there, boys. Stewart is last. What the hell is this? This game came out in 2009. Pretty sure Stewart was like on a whole vibe that year. I don't know what this shit is. Stewart, I mean, he either gets first or he gets last, Ricky Bobby, so I guess maybe he had a mistake in this one, but, you know. Okay, let's try the old Honda out here on, man, the sand tracks get to a whole nother level. Dude, I want to try, like, some laps on Razorback, because I know this track can get gnarly. This one can get gnarly because it's got that little bit of mud vibe on it. Man, it's just so much fun. This game is just so much fun. It's just so endless, you know? So endless. I can put, 8 to 10,000 hours into this shit, and it still feels like a new motocross game. Like I still want to play it like it's a new motocross game, you know? That's what's so crazy about it. I just don't get tired of this game, period. Reflex is the definition of endless. MX Simulator is too. Both of them games. Definition of endless. If you get into them deep enough, trust me, you ain't ever going to want to stop playing them. You ain't ever going to want to really stop playing either one of those games. I've never had any other games that can give me that kind of feeling like what Sim and Reflex gives me. I've just yet to find any other games that can give me quite that level of just absolutely endless shit. I just took off. What the hell am I doing? Let me restart. Sorry, guys. Gotta give them a head start. MX Sim and Reflex to me is just, whoo. MX Bikes is a fun game and all, and it's still getting developed, and there's still a lot of things I think they need to develop on MX Bikes, but, MX Simulator with the thousands of 10,000s upon thousands of custom tracks, custom gear, anything you want, everything you want in the game, easier to use track editor, all these other things, MX Simulator, I still feel like at this current stage is still, and MX Simulator is having a lot of problems right now. That's one of the biggest reasons I'm not really playing it very much, right? It's having a lot of issues with the hacking, cheating, scamming, key sharing, RF bullshit, erode beta testing. It's having a lot of its issues, and it's definitely bringing it down. But I think those are all things that can potentially be, like, fixed, rectified, changed. It all depends on, like, when they want to do it and how they want to do it. But as of right now, Sim is definitely going through some struggles. There ain't no doubt about it. Yeah, I've seen the whole alter. I gotta scoot up a little bit here so I can see when these dudes actually come around here. I waited. I don't know if they quite came around, but I ain't waiting any more than a minute 18. That is gonna be like super difficult to catch back up. Let's see here. Oh my God, this Fancy boy throwing it. We're just tossing it and saucing it. Whew. Damn, just look at the creativity in that little section right there where the water came through. Man, they just had a way of making these tracks feel. That was the crazy part about Reflex. Even though none of these tracks were replica tracks, they felt like a real life track. That was insane when you think back to it. Yeah, these are like based off of Texas tracks right here, but they're not literally a replica track of a real life track. But it feels like it is. It just feels like everything belongs. Everything fits in its perfect spot, Really gets you immersed into the game. Doesn't just feel like some random, track. So I think that really made Reflex a lot of fun. It's going to be tough to catch up to this either way in 10 laps, no matter what we do. Got that little lip to the inside where you can jump that jump a little bit easier. You can hit that double a little bit easier right there. Obviously, once you become the scrub daddy, then once you become the snap scrub daddy legend, then you can start doing that. Got the 2 mud areas on the track that create like a completely different kind of deformation than any other part of the track, which is really interesting. Even on the simple motocross tracks, they found a way to make it feel complex enough, you know? Boys, we are definitely gaining some time, but we got a lot of time to pick up here. Woo! I think this track was a little bit... See, there's an inside rut right here. Oh, my God. Yeah, we kind of big-hossed that. We kind of big-hossed that a little bit. Oh, my God. Spency boy getting squirrely. Spency boy just on the gas, not giving a shit. Oh, man. Oh, man. But nothing feels forced, you know? Nothing feels like you are forced to go in this one area. Let me just take a nap in these hay bales real quick. You know, nothing feels like you're forced to hit this certain line. You're forced to go over here. You're forced to hit that. You're forced to go to the outside. You're forced... You have to go here. You have to do... None of it feels like that. You know, if I wanted to cut up the inside here, I could literally do that. You know, not rail around the outside, cut up the inside. Every corner feels like you can cut it just shorter and shorter and shorter, depending on how much momentum you can carry. You know, you may or may not still be able to hit that next jump like you want to, but it's all in how much momentum you're able to carry. And the terrain deformation plays a perfect balance of digging down the face some in some areas, but not too much, right? Like, you can draw these corners out, draw your lines out in these corners any way that you want to, really. And it's going to drastically change how you know, how you can get through the track. The width of the track just feels perfect. It's not too narrow, not too one-to-one narrow scaling bullshit like some of those MXGP games. You know, when you make shit too narrow and you make the jumps too small and all that, you make everything too one-to-one scale, yeah, it may look, you know, realistic compared to the bike, but you're not going to have nowhere near the amount of line option and choice, and it's going to kind of tunnel you and force you down in these different areas on the track because there's just not enough different places to go because you made the track too narrow. You know, so you got to be real careful of that. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do any of that like MX bikes with turning the, you know, terrain deformation up to a different level or whatever. Like, I'm not really interested in that, to be honest. But I mean, I'll play MX bikes. Obviously, the terrain deformation is, you know, turned on every track. It kind of varies a little bit, but I'm not interested in going in there and like cranking up the terrain deformation to where it'll like rut up like with riding on one bike on the track. If I want to have a bunch of, you know, a super ruddy track, I'll just get a bunch of people in multiplayer and not reset the track, and it'll create that exact same experience, right? So I think, you know, you want to be careful and not like try to do something in the game that it wasn't really intended to be. You know, you got to be careful of doing that. I think that's an issue with MX Simulator's terrain deformation system. The fact that you can go in there and turn it on 100 with 40 dudes on a track, and depending on how that specific track's terrain deformation files and stuff are, it can make that like beyond insane, beyond what should have ever been ran in the game, you know? So I like to just run what the game was meant to be, you know? So with MX bikes, I like to just kind of play it like it was meant to be played. Not really too interested in, you know, doing the whole like cranking up the erode on MX bikes or whatever. Not too interested in that. Now, if they want to decide to develop the game into that to where, you know, they start making it more like that, then that's a different story. But, you know, I believe they're kind of almost modding the game / exploiting the game in a way, if I'm not mistaken, by, you know, being able to raise the terrain deformation on MX bikes right now. So I guess they're going in there like you would go in there on a custom track file when you're building the track, and you kind of adjust that. Because, you know, obviously on the sand tracks, the track editors have it to where you can raise like how much it's going to deform on a sand track. And I don't know if that directly ties into the tile map itself or what, but kind of gets a little complicated when you get into that. But either way, you know, and a lot of times, anytime you're going in there and you're like by yourself on a track and you're raising that terrain deformation to a ×10 level of what it should be, but you're trying to create a lot more terrain deformation with one bike, a lot of times that's going to create a more janky, you know, more of a janky experience like that versus having a bunch of bikes with a lower erode setting, you know. So you got to be careful with that, or you will get a very janky, spliced out kind of rut filling going on. That same way on MX Sim, it will always make a better terrain deformation, you know, ruts and roughness. It don't really make roughness, but ruts on the track. It'll always make better ruts on the track when you have more riders on the track with a lower erode setting versus having less riders on the track with a higher erode setting. It will always make better terrain deformation with more riders and lower erode. Always. So I don't know what the hell's going on in this race, but I don't know if I can catch up. Look at that little... Man, it just makes so many cool little unique areas on the track. Everything just feels so dynamic, you know? Can rail up that inside. We're finally catching up to the caboose here. Finally catching up to the caboose. We got 5 laps to make up 46 seconds. Whew. That's going to be a trick. That's going to be a little tricky. Can't have any mistakes, for damn sure. Whew, it's fun when you rail a rut. You rail a terrain deformation rut in this game. Oh, man. Kind of gives you that, like, semi-locked-in feeling to the rut, but you're not, like, 100% locked into it. Kind of like it kind of guides the bike a little bit, but not like to an insanity level, you know? It's really fun. That's the thing about Reflex. Like, you know, you talk about the air physics and the whipping and all that, but I swear to God, it's just as much fun on the ground as it is in the air. It's just as much fun trying to rail a rut or you know, do anything like that in this game. Hit a berm really fast or whatever you're trying to do on the ground. You know, that's what I've always said about Reflex. It's not like the air physics feel like they're way better than the ground physics or vice versa. They both feel like they're on the same level of amazing, so then it adds even more to that working in harmony feeling. Well, we just wadded her up in the mud. We just stuck her in the mud real quick, no big deal. But yeah, I'm sure some of you guys have probably gotten a goof and a gaff and a laugh out of the raising the terrain deformation on MX bikes. I'm sure it's probably been a fun little time trying to, you know, test all that out and screw around with that. But I'm just not really into that. I've already done that on MX Simulator, so I'm kind of just, you know, not really too into the let's max out this terrain deformation to some crazy level. I don't know. It's just not really that fun to me nowadays. Not really that fun. Oh, shit. You know, would it be fun to have a terrain deformation slider that you could basically go in there and adjust on Reflex before you hopped on whatever track? Yeah, it'd be fun for a minute to play around with that, but at the same time, at that point, you got to be careful because you're tweaking what the original track was supposed to be, you know? So when you go in there and you start tweaking on the terrain deformation amount. I know on MX Sim it's kind of just set it to whatever on any track, but with MX bikes, you know, that's got basically a defaulted amount depending on what kind of track you're on. It's got a set amount of how that terrain deformation was supposed to be on each individual track for whatever kind of, you know, dirt compound is supposed to be on the track. So when you go in there and you crank up a terrain deformation system on a hard packed track to a umph level, you know, a 7 times level or a 10 times level, you're getting like a totally different than what the track maker was intended you to have experience on that track. So in a way, that's almost like going in there and changing the traction of the track, or going in there and changing, you know, things like that. In a way, it kind of is like that. Not on MX Sim, because like I say, you're changing that a road setting on every track, you know, constantly. But on games like MX bikes and then even Reflex, you know, some tracks rut up more than other tracks, some custom tracks rut up more than other tracks. You know, once you start kind of giving that power to be able to adjust the terrain deformation amount on each individual track as the player, then it creates this, you know, you could create an experience that the track maker wasn't even really intending. So got to be a little careful with that when you do that. It's fun as a like sandboxy, just like play around kind of element to the games. I'm not trying to question that, but you know, like if I was to go in there and make an MX bikes track and I had a certain ground texture, ground traction, and then it had whatever kind of deformation built into that or combined with that I personally set to a certain level, you know, and then somebody goes in there and like, you know, multiplies that by 10, then it's like, okay, now you're getting like a very different experience than what that track was supposed to feel like, right? So, but it's to each their own. I'm just saying, you're going to get a very, very different experience than whatever that track was intended to be when you start tweaking on that yourself. Oh my God, was that Ricky? I think we had Ricky sitting on the... Oh my God, this respawn point. This may cost me the race right here. Holy shit. I thought that dude was invisible. Apparently not. Apparently not. Man, that's getting wore down right there. Holy shit. Dude asked me, what's my favorite track on Reflex? All of them. The better question would be, what is your favorite tracks among all arcade motocross games? And I would just say all the tracks on Reflex. That would be the better way to word that. But, nah, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to kind of narrow it down because I think all the tracks in this game have their place. You know, they have a purpose. Like even down to the easier, the first couple motocross tracks you unlock, even though they're a lot less complex or really easy, like Lost Meadow and stuff like that. You know, they still hold a place because it's like more of a beginner style track for when you first get into the game. You know, and then you start getting to these Razorbacks and Armadillo Flats and shit, and it starts getting a lot more complex, which is perfect. You know, it gives you that variation to the track designs, so I love that about it. But, you know, if you ask like 9 out of 10 people what's their favorite Reflex, like motocross track, they're probably going to either say like Pine Top, Armadillo Flats, or Razorback, which is like the last 3 tracks you get. I think Sandwick in this game was legendary. I mean, if I could pick, that'd probably be the one right there, Sandwick. Obviously, it's kind of like a Southwick replica-ish vibe, but that track, in a nutshell, Sandwick in this game is actually like 3 or 4 different tracks, depending on how many laps you run on it. You know, it can way change that track. So... obviously, but I love every single track in this game. You know, that's what I was trying to get at. I like all these tracks better than any of those milestone tracks could ever even think about being. You know, I love even the worst track of this game, I feel like is better than just about any of those Milestone games tracks or anything like that, you know. Yeah, I mean, there's some of the Supercross tracks, you know, just like that first Supercross track that you unlock, right? A lot of people would consider that one like way too easy or, you know, way too simplistic on the rhythms and stuff, which it is, but it's for a purpose, you know? It's the first Supercross track that you unlock. Look at that quad. Oh, my God. This game was just something else, dude, I tell you. Like a whole nother quad potential rhythm right there that I wasn't even really thinking about hitting. It's just crazy, dude. I don't know if we're going to be able to win this one, boys. We got 2 laps to catch up 28 seconds. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Oh, my God. We railed the shit out of that. Hit that whole jump from the inside. Oh, my. Oh, my God. Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling. Whew, it's going to be tough. We got 1 lap. Damn. 2 laps, I guess, right? Yeah, we got 2 laps to go here. Try to hit this up the inside. Okay. Still jump to there. And this game has a really perfect balance between, like, creating kickers with the terrain deformation, but not making it, like, super janky feeling or anything. That's another really big problem with MX Simulator's road system. It just creates too much of a inconsistent kicker all of a sudden feeling on some of the jump faces. Everything just feels like a big kicker everywhere, you know? Then it starts to give you the feeling of like, that's what makes you feel like you got to go slower everywhere on MX Sim is making those crazy kickers and then, you know, making like that one singular rut that you got to super slow down to get into. That one singular janked out rut. That's what makes you feel like you got to go so much slower. You got to tiptoe in your Jordans on MX Sim. Kind of what gives you that feeling. Oh my God, that was a cool little whip. Like scrubbed and then it like snap scrubbed and then it turned into a kind of like turn sideways whip there. There's a lot of little like whip combination type things you can do in the air in this game. Whip scrub combinations and things. Whew. Can we catch them? Oh my God, we got 1 lap. Holy shit. This is going to be close right here. 10 seconds. Cannot have a mistake at all. This is going to be a close one right here, boys and girls. Dudes and dudeskies, this is going to be a close one. Spency boy's out here railing these insides, though. Like you ain't never seen, boy. We about to hit them with the work, boy. About to hit them with the work, boy. Just hope I don't get popped off doing one of these snap scrubs. It's the only thing I'm worried about here. Okay, I think we can do it. Oh, it's going to be tough. Oh, man, I overjumped that. Shit. That kicker just made me overjump that a little too far. Woo! It's going to be everything we got right here. Everything we got. I'm just going to stay on the gas. Try to float through these corners here. Inside here, just don't pop off. All right. Steady, Spency boy, steady. Got to stay steady here. Don't let this roughness knock you off. 5 seconds we got to make up. Oh, my God. Oh, you tough block. Okay. Okay. Shit. Oh, jump to there. Yes. Come on, Spency boy. Come on, Spency boy. Easy. Easy does it. Focus up here, boy. I'm about to hit you with that work, boy. Oh, what the fuck? Did not jump that worth of shit somehow. Oh, my God. We're right here. Oh, my God. Go, Spency boy. Go. Go, Spency boy. Go. Oh, last corner. Fuck you, dude. No! Oh, this ain't the last corner. Wait, we have a couple more corners. Shit, I don't know why I thought that was the finish line there. Oh, we got him. Let's not even try to get in a collision with this kid. Oh, my God, we got him. Woo! Oh, man. Oh, man. They can't hang with Spency boy, I'm telling you. Last lap. I'll be here all week. No big deal. No big deal to the Smithy boy. No big deal. I was not expecting to be able to win that race right there. A little crazy. $154. I bet that's probably a decent lap time. May not be amazing, but see how I started to work that inside rut right before the finish? That's so cool how you can kind of start working insides depending on how much it deforms, you know? You can really start working different lines and stuff. No, that new MXGP game, like, let's do a little freestyle just for the shits. I still need to unlock a couple of these on this account. Man, some of those tracks were fun. How do I actually do that? I think I have to go Moto Career. Yeah, let me see here. Supercross 3. Freestyle Series 1. Okay. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, MXGP 2020, like I said, it's going to be a next-gen milestone game, not a new milestone game. Those are two very different things. I think MXGP 2020 has the potential to be the least changed milestone game we have ever seen. Like, when you compare game to game. Like, the last game to this game, you know? I think it could technically be the least changed we've ever actually seen. Okay, it's been forever since I've done freestyle in this game, so give me just a second to relearn this shit. Oh, the Spency boy, the legend out here. He can do it all. He can do it all. Little Travis Pastrana. No big deal. No big deal. Spency boy can do it all. Hell, I got to the point where I could freaking do like backflips and freestyle in this game in first person. Even with the crazy ass first person of this game. Literally got to the point where I could do that at one point in time. Had this really cool, man, this was just such a cool, even if you just wanted to like play around on this track. Not even that you had to actually do, you know, a freestyle like run on it, but just the track in general is just so cool. There's like so many little places. I just loved coming in here and just like kind of free riding on these freestyle tracks, you know. You can definitely do that. You know, just throwing your whips and shit. A good old time doing that on these. Oh, shit. Yeah, and then you had the all-elusive... Oh, my God. So they had a half pipe all the way back in these days in Reflex, back in 09. You know how the half pipe shit in freestyle is like becoming a big thing with Axel Hodges, and like nowadays it's becoming a big thing. And all the way back in Reflex, they literally had a half-pipe jump section on the track. Like, come on, bro. That shit is so legendary. Like, God bless. Okay, we pretty much got a 10 on everything except variety. What the hell? I got 12th? Okay. I just literally got my ass handed to me on this. All right. Dead last. I thought I was doing pretty good. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, looks like freestyle's not our jam here, dude. I need to unlock some of the Omnicross tracks. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Need to unlock these 4, which I had all this shit unlocked on my older account, but I need to unlock it on this account, right? So, what I need to do here is run a little Omnicross shit just to unlock some tracks. Omnicross Series 1. Gotta go here. Okay. Ballin'. This is my Geico-backed, Geico-sponsored Kawasaki. My green Geico-sponsored, Monster Energy Geico-sponsored Kawasaki. No big deal. No big deal. Just way too fresh. Just way too fresh, dog. I just love the feeling of, on Reflex, it feels like every time you come off that jump face, it's a different variation of a whip. Sometimes slight, but every single time you come off that jump face, feels like you're doing a different kind of whip. You know, it's the furthest thing from a hit a button, play an animation, repetitive. That's MX versus trucks for you. That's MX versus trophy trucks for you there, Doug. But just when you start getting a little tired of the motocross and the supercross, you can come over here and ride on these. These basically play as like not only a, you know, truck track and things like that, but it also plays as kind of a trail track for the dirt bikes in the game, which is really cool. Kind of a 2-for-1 there. And then the waypoints of the game obviously play as a trail vibe to the game as well. So there's kind of like 2 other kind of complete different track racing modes that act as a, what I kind of consider the, you know, trail enduro racing of the game, which just gives it a whole, whoops, I did not mean to jump that, gives it a whole nother level of fun, whole nother kind of, you know, thing to do in the game. But it would be cool to see one of these, you know, AAA motocross games actually put in a dedicated, you know, GNCC enduro series into their game. Kind of surprised none of them have really done that yet. And like the official Supercross game's not really doing enduro cross. I was a little shocked by that as well. I'm looking at chat here. Sorry, it made me kind of spin out there. We got a professional trophy truck driver. No big deal. I'm out here freezing my nipples off. This dude's inside of a truck. You know, it's just really fair. Just really fair out here. You know, I'm just real shocked, like one of these, you know, Milestone is kind of teased at that whole enduro trail shit, but with some of their, you know, free ride tracks over the years, but I think MXGP Pro kind of had a little bit of that on their free ride track, but they still haven't put in an actual, you know, like 5-6 round GNCC trail series into their games. And neither has MX versus ATV with All Out. You know, they haven't really put a dedicated trail series into it. So it would not shock me to see that in the next MX versus ATV game. It really wouldn't. Like if you see a 5-6 round, instead of having like Omnicross, you have like, you know, a trail series, a dedicated enduro trail series to the next MX versus ATV game. If they were smart, that's what they would do. But I don't really know. We're out here just 75th gear tapped. No big deal. About 62 million RPMs. No big deal. No big deal. So even though Reflex didn't have a literal water skimming like system to it, there still kind of was a way to stay above water, you know, depending on how fast you were going, there kind of was a little bit of that in some of these water areas to prevent yourself from flooding. But it wasn't like the water skimming on Alive or All Out or anything like that, right? So it was a little bit different than that, but still pretty cool. It's cool that there still was water sections in this game and stuff like that, you know? Oh! And then obviously you got the snow that feels different from the dirt, that feels different from the sand, that feels different from the mud. So you had all those different kind of dirt compounds. I feel like that really made this game feel alive, having not only like hard-packed desert dry, but then you had standard woodland normal dirt, then you had like mud, then you had all the, you know, snow winter vibe tracks. So you had all, what's up, Jack? You had all of that. What's up, Jack? I could be a rapper. You had all that combined. So it gave you, like, you know, just a whole different feeling depending on what kind of free ride track you were playing on. Very different biomes to the different free ride tracks of the game. It's a lot of fun. You can almost rail that like a berm. I love these little, you know, hybrid-y combination. I still think there's so many things people could do with custom tracks in these motocross games, like have motocross Omnicross combination tracks, have motocross trail combination track, hybrid supercross, motocross, enduro hybrid. You know, you can hybrid a lot more kind of different track designs in these motocross games than I feel like they have done. I feel like we haven't really tapped into that, you know, real hybrid potential in these different motocross games. I think there's a lot more unique, interesting stuff that they could, you know, end up doing with that in the future. And I definitely want to try to do some of that with some of my custom tracks on MX Sim. There's a lot of different cool stuff you can do with that. I appreciate you, Tyler. Appreciate you tuning in, dude. Yeah, we'll be back on here tomorrow on MX Bikes. I want to try to do like a little MX Bikes whip practice shit. It'll be a good old time. It'll be a slightly good old time. I think we unlocked the second Waypoint Series 3. Yeah, Omnicross 2. And then, on top of all of that, then the PC version of Reflex came out. Then you got the thousands upon thousands of custom tracks with that, and the thousands upon thousands custom gear and bikes and everything, you know. You got everything with it. So, it really was on another level, dude. This game, I hate to say it, but this game may be the forever arcade motocross game greatest of all time. It really may be, man. It really may be. So, either way, appreciate you guys tuning into this stream. We're just getting it back going. We're going to go back to daily streams. So, make sure you got that notification bell hit. We'll be back pronto, ASAP Rocky, boys.